Yes. Hey there. I'm Paulino B Michael, and welcome to the Flat Out Truth. Yes, man, we got it done. I'm wearing my new shirt here, a new T-shirt. It is Flat Out Truth, America First, and then it's got some stuff on it, and it's got some stuff on the back, and it's fire, man. And these are like one of my favorite. They're so soft too, very soft. Anyway, welcome everybody, and as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Yada yada. And we have a special guest today. We'll be doing an interview with Pastor Daniel Moreno. And how we know each other and how far it went back is really crazy, and how this all came back around. And so we'll be getting into all that. And so without further ado, let me bring in my clicker of all buttons. I think she's ready. Miss Chelsey B Michael.
Boom. All right, guys. Thank you guys for attending the Flat Out Truth with our special guest speaker. And we are just waiting. Oh, no, there he is. All right, here we go.
Yeah, we're inviting him on right now. And, you know, they're a little older, so we're trying to teach them on this new school of how you do everything and get everything all set up. And
they're doing good. They're doing good.
They're doing good. We did a run through, and that's why we do run throughs earlier in the week. See if we can get everything connected. All right. So he accepted the invite, and here he goes. And I don't know if he's going to be doing video or not. Doesn't look like it.
On?
All right. I can hear. There we go. All right.
All right. There he goes. Hey. So how are you guys doing? You guys are live. So everything that Tina says, we can hear. So she have to use the new.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, great. So welcome, and this is Pastor Daniel Moreno, and I guess some people call him Danny. I always call him Daniel. I don't know why. It seems more formal. But yeah, so we have a lot of things for him to cover. He's very interesting type of guy. Great stories. He's probably heard them and said them so many times throughout his years, and he might not think they're so interesting, but they are very fascinating to me. And look at Chelsey laugh, because it's like
They are.
Yeah, they're very interesting. Even how he started in all the way back to 1974. How much time do we have, guys? We're gonna go all the way back to 1974.
Yep. 1974.
All right, man. The floor is yours. Do you have any opening questions for him, babe? What do you think?
No, I was just going to have him start, like you said, at the beginning, how you got started, how you first felt called. A little bit. We've heard a little bit of your story, so we just want you to share some of the goods and the downs of your journey as a pastor.
Yeah, because I guess changed, right?
It's changed a lot.
So we're going to give you the floor.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me to be in your program. And yes, my journey as a Christian pretty much started a long time ago. I was raised pretty much with Christian in a Christian home. My grandfather was a pastor in Mexico, so that's where I got my first kind of a connection with Christianity, and also my experience. Now that I can recall back, I had already a personal experience when I was growing up in the church, but as time goes by, we kind of forget about those things, you know, and then I kind of dismiss the whole Christian life, you know, kind of. And then I met my wife, and then we got married in '74. And that's when kind of I reconnected with God, basically. I was very kind of determined. I remember I was kind of rebellious about it too. That I really said, okay, God, if you're real, I want to know you if you're real, because I want to be real with you. So that was my first kind of challenge, you know. And from then on, it's been I have been pursuing that with my heart. And I felt the calling of serving God, which now, even the word, back then, the word serving God was very prominent, or, very special word. Um, but so I kind of fall in line what everybody was doing, serving, or calling to serve God, or follow your calling. It has many names. The church has given it many names, but it's the same thing. So that was my kind of beginning of reconnected with God. So we got married in '74, and it just so happened that we went to a revival, and that's where I kind of reconnected with God. I had a personal experience, and I think I recommend to a lot of people, to actually look forward for the personal experience. We can even be surprised, how God has manifested in our lives, even from our childhood. But because nobody told us, that actually God was in who God was, or how God operated, we always kind of ignore that. Because now, if I look back into my life, I can see many instances that God was already uh, guiding me and being with me, protect me. I have one thing that is let me share something. This is kind of funny because uh, I remember the one time I was walking in my hometown, and I was young, maybe there was 10 years old or something like that. And I remember that I was walking by a school, and it was hot, and I almost passed away, passed out, and I got hold of I hold myself from the fence, and I had the kind of episode. So now that I go back and I recall some things that happened to me, and I ask God, okay, what happened there? Or and it's amazing. So I encourage any of you, whoever's listening, that if you have any events that you don't understand as a childhood when you were growing up, you're mature enough, and sincere enough, you can ask God, how do you ask God? You might ask the question. So I learned to ask God in my mind. And that's how I've been kind of trading this new connection. So I just close my eyes and I say, okay, God, remember when I fall down, and I thought it was because my parents said that I wasn't eating right, or I was more interested in playing and hanging around and eating and things like that. So we kind of go with the flow of whatever people tell you, and it makes sense and at the moment. But when you ask God, oh my God, that's when you know the truth. Yeah, and that's for me now. I feel more confident in asking God. So I encourage you. When I said ask Him in your mind, uh, I have learned also that many of our lives we live it in our minds. The struggles we live our struggles in our minds. Is more. You know, we're not. We're not aware of how much we work with our mind, and we struggle with our mind, the problems in our mind. It's just too much. And I get to understand people when they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know what to do, and because it can be very difficult. So if you're going through anything like that in your life, I want you to know that you're a normal person. Which people don't tell us that. So if you're struggling with your life, you're okay. We all struggle with life. It's something normal. We just don't talk about that much. But yes. So anyway, that's how in '74 we got married, and then we came to Michigan. Yes, beautiful. We came to Michigan, and we were migrant workers, me and my wife. And as we were here in Michigan, I got a scholarship to go to LCC. So we were very excited, me and my wife, and then we met a church. there was a church that was starting to. It was at the beginning stage of a church, which it was Calvary Calvary Bible Church, and we met the members of the church, and we were really connected with them a lot. I think that when you find a group that loves God, it's very easy to connect with them, and they were like that. So we came to Lansing, and we stayed here for about 6 months. Then we returned back to Texas. But in those 6 months, we enjoy being here in Lansing, and I think that's where I met your dad, and I don't know if that's where I met you too. You were kind of young, but anyway, after so many years, when I seen you, your face just came back, you know. Oh, that time. It's amazing, I didn't think I was gonna recognize you. I just in that moment I went back to the 1974.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, and now we've been we went to Texas. We worked for our pastor who married us. We worked for him for 3 years as youth leaders, and then we came back to Michigan. And then we came to Calvary Bible Church and study. We went to a Bible seminar, and we were getting ready to go to. Apparently, they were preparing a church for me and my wife to go. There was like maybe 4 couples that came out from the institute, and we were supposed to have. Every couple was supposed to be assigned a they were preparing a church for every couple, and that's where I was waiting for that. But anyway, that didn't happen. Something else happened. So,
Yeah.
but here we are now.
And because you had a really interesting journey. Like you said, you were in Lansing. You came as a migrant. And then you started becoming a pastor, and then you were getting trained, and then you left, and then you came back. I mean, the story is amazing, people. If he goes into the details of how he left and he came back, and then they weren't in the church, and they found a different church, and they came back to this church. It's just amazing how things just all come around. And yes, he's known me since I was like a little kid, like 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, so and then we started a church, but always been the desire to be guided by God, which I follow everything the church taught me, everything that I learned from the pastors, and for me it was maybe I was kind of privileged and proud also to be a minister or a pastor at the time, and so. I decided, but I knew the reason I came back was that I actually made a deal with God. Remember, I was saying that I wanted to be real with God. So I said, okay, God, I wanna go back to Texas when I left. It's just, and this is the deal. And I think now looking back, I even kind of joke around with God. I said, you got a good deal with me, when I said, give me 3 years. Go back to Texas, give me 3 years, and let me learn a trade, and then I do whatever you want me to do. And I didn't think that God took it seriously, and yeah, he took it seriously. And like one of my granddaughters just learned the word literally, so God took it literally. And I remember that I had a job, and we had a house, and everything was going fine. But after 3 years, it came that tug in my heart. We gotta come back to Michigan. And I remember I talked to my wife, and I says, I feel that we need to go back to Michigan. And I thank God that she was also willing to come. She says, "Oh, okay, well, let's go." We had a kind of resistance from our family because all the family was there in Texas, and my pastor also. I was working with him for 3 years. We were the leaders of the youth, and in fact, apparently that at that time the youth grew a lot. So, there was a lot of questions. Why are you guys all of a sudden? You have already a job, you got a house, you're working, but they didn't know that I had made this commitment with God. And I remember that I didn't even tell my parents that we were leaving until we packed up. We loaded a car, and we had 3 kids. And the idea was to come, and I think there was somebody here that had a business, and we were supposed to work with him, in the business. But he never matured. So, but anyway, we picked up a car with all our stuff. Now looking back, it's like how crazy. Now when I travel, I have to be very careful. Make sure that the car is doing okay, and I don't know, some more preparation. And now that I'm looking back, man, that was crazy. And we actually head on to Michigan. Thank God that the vehicle was so good. It was an old '69, I think, Pontiac Catalina, real good on the road. Anyway, so we came here, and we had three children at the time, and we didn't have a place to stay. So there was a brother that hosted us in his attic for about 2 weeks, and it was so hot. So every morning we would wake up, and we had to go to the Francis Park became our hangout for 2
Wow.
weeks.
That
Yes,
is weird
yes.
because that's where we
Yes.
just reconnected with Francis Park last year.
Oh yeah,
Right? Same park,
you're
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were there at Joe
Right.
Garza's 90th birthday.
yes.
Yeah. And Tina
And,
actually thought I was my cousin's son, Simon. It was
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah. Net came from Texas, remember? That's why we went.
Yep,
Mhm.
Yeah.
just like Simon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. So anyway, so when so that was for 2 weeks, and finally after 2 weeks, my wife says, "Okay, well, if we don't find a house, we gotta go back home." And, I understand that one. It was kind of hard to live with 3 kids, in the attic, and just kind of every day in the morning we wake up and we go out and come back only to sleep. So yeah, so thank God that we found a place, and we started attending the church, Calvary Bible Church, and we pretty much I submitted myself in it. I dive into working because I always like to work, and I always wanted, I was always trying to look ways to get closer to God, to know Him, that has always been my main goal. Almost, it seems like I made it my job, to look for a close relationship with God.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that it was possible to actually have a close relationship with God. So we worked there. Also, we were leaders there. We were youth leaders.
Because we knew religion.
Huh?
We knew religion, but we didn't know relationship.
Yeah, we kind of went through all the religious steps, speaking in tongues and deliverance, and you name it. Whatever came out that we needed to that will make me closer to God, I go through it. I remember one time they told me, well, you gotta go through deliverance, and I can tell you that I was scared going through deliverance, because back then, it was so much as like they scare you so much in the church, instead of giving you hope, that there's the hope, but there's a lot of scary thing, about the devil. And yeah, you're saved and Jesus is with you, but the devil. And yeah, but you're okay. The Holy Spirit with you, and He guides you and give you a lot of good stuff, but then the devil's always there. And I remember they told me, well, it's you're gonna have to go through deliverance. And I was scared because a lot of people had a lot of different experiences, and I heard about the experiences, and And I said, I don't want to go. I don't want to go through that. And so it's, and some people, they have gone through the old school of the church, they kind of remember that, and they know how scared, they were made to be. And it's, and I don't blame the leaders, because they didn't know either. They were doing what they have learned. They were doing what they were trained to do.
Yeah.
So it's just something that is being passed down. We don't question. That's another thing, sadly to say it, we don't question. And for me, my background, especially coming from Hispanic heritage, we were trained to respect your elders.
Yes.
It's a good thing, but it can be a bad thing, because people can take advantage of that, those characters, those traits that our parents instill in us, and you won't talk to a person if he's talking. You got to wait until the person is not talking. So even though all these, or good things, they, people can take advantage of that. I noticed that in the church, it happened. They want you to be very obedient. They want you to be very submissive. They want you, don't even, if you don't ask them any questions, and you got to work. And for me, I love working. I love serving God. Oh my God, that was for me. What time you want me to go? How long you want me to stay? In other words, you tell me how high you want me to jump, and I do it. That for me, that was because I really, really was trying to show God how serious I was. And the only problem that it wasn't God, it was the pastors that I was being submitted to.
Yeah,
you're
showing man. Yeah,
listening to. So but I was all hearted. No matter what they wanted, how they wanted, I was all there, 100%. And thank God that I had a job. Thank God I found a job, and I worked there for 20 years. And so I went to Bible Institute, and I learned everything. So I was pretty much ready to start a church, or I was supposed to start a church at that time. But anyway, that's been my journey. And as I remember about saying about deliverance, I was really scared. And I tell people, now I can share with people, it's okay if you're scared, because we haven't seen God, we haven't touched God. He's an invisible person, but I can assure you, it is real, and He wants the best for you, and it's not as difficult as the church has made it for us. Now that I know the other side, what I mean the other side, a new concept that I've been learning, that I have learned, and that's what I'm practicing now. Is like, wow, what amazing, and I don't blame the leaders, because they were just teaching us what they knew.
Yeah, and I have a question for you. It's something that, like, you had told me, like, you have so many fascinating things. So, like, one of the things that I was gonna ask you is, like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember you were telling me about when you were being sent off to talk to people, like in hospice, and then this woman had pain, and you were telling her to dial it back, like to get in her mind, and you were going back in the pain. Do you remember the one you were telling me about?
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you about that one. That was something new.
Yeah.
That has been guiding me to do weird things.
Yes.
And weird things because I've never done them before. And I remember that I found out about this person and she used to be a member of the church. So then as they told me, well, that she's having a lot of pain. So they transferred her from one hospital to another, apparently because the pain was so severe that if they give her so much pain medicine, she probably will pass out. So instead of giving her the medication, they sent her to another hospital. So I find out about that. So I says, okay, so I'm going to go and visit her. And because God had already shown me, and I think no, this was the first time. So I go there, and I'm gonna tell you what I have shared with God. That I said, God, I really don't like to visit people in the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, and if any pastors here, you know, they're gonna talk, they're gonna
Judge you.
they're gonna judge me 100%. You know, but I have my reason. I said, because it's the reason that I don't like, and this is me talking with God, okay, in my mind. How do I talk to God? I talk to God in my mind. I have conversations. Many of you have conversation with yourself most of the time. So you talk to yourself most of the time, but don't tell people because they're going to tell you that you're crazy. Okay?
Right.
You're not crazy. 99.9% of the people, they talk to themselves in their mind. And they, you know, and that's normal. We just kind of the stigma of comes and we don't want to judge, but yet we judge. We don't want to do it, but then we do it. And we don't
Right.
do it, but everybody does it.
Yes.
So this is something that is normal. Okay. So anyway, the reason I told God that I didn't like to go to the hospital was for this reason, because I said, God, every time I go to the hospital and I pray for a person, everything is by faith. And I was very honest with God. This conversation is talking to God, not talking to a person, because the person, it were very analytical. So I encourage you, if you will have questions, try to ask God in your mind. You'd be surprised. How can you know it's God? Everything is going to be positive. It's going to be for your benefit. It's going to be for your behalf. Everything is going to be something is going to help you, something positive, something's going to uplift you. If it doesn't uplift you, condemn you, all stuff, there's not. So anyway, so I'm just giving you this.
That's great.
And I says, oh, okay, God, I don't like to go to the hospital because every time I have, it's by faith. And I'm going to tell you how faith works for me. It's not for everybody else, but it's for me. I said, because this is what I had that I wanted to bring before God, the truth of what I was dealing with. Every time I go to the hospital, it is my faith. And I said, and faith actually is 50%. 50% yes, and 50% no. And I even explained to God, like if he didn't know. But this is the way I was talking to him about it. So I said, look, God, if I pray for a person to be healed, it is a 50%. If the person gets healed, great. I already have the verses that says that, by his stripes we were healed. And I give him all the verses of the healing, and because he's healed, so those verses, work with it. But then if the person dies, guess what happened? I already have the list of verses that I'm going to give the person because he dies. So, it is appointed unto man, that you should die. So I read, this is what we have to work with, okay? When we talk by faith, this is what we work with. If the person gets healed, well, we praise the Lord, and we go through all that excitement, and we got all the verses, and we exalt the name of God, and we got the glory, and blah 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 blah. But if the person dies, well, we get all the verses. Well, okay, and we already have the verses. Well, it is appointed unto man that you're gonna die. So you see, it's a 50-50%. And
Yes.
I said, God, I want to work with 50-50. I don't want to work that way. But I said this to God after like maybe 27 years of being a minister. So I did all my legwork. Okay. So whoever is listening, I went through the whole shebang of evangelist or ministering or going to the streets and healing people. And I went through the whole thing. In fact, when we started our church in 85 or 86, I made a flyer that it says, Jesus is Lord over Lansing. That's how determined I was. That's how hungry I was to convert Lansing for God. So, I was, and then every time there was some kind of revival that was coming, I think The Hunters. I don't know if anybody remember the Hunters. Oh my God, we went with them wherever they were here in Lansing. We go through the workshop. Anytime something was going on about revival, we would be there. We're doing the work. So in other words, I have done that. I've been there and done that for 27 years. My whole life was that. Okay, so then I went to this. So I went to visit this member of the church. She wasn't going to church anymore, but she used to be a member. So I went to visit this person. So when I got there, I said, okay, I'm here, and I'm gonna try to help you. And this is what we're gonna do. You tell me where's your pain. She said my pain is in the stomach. Apparently, the person had cancer, stomach cancer. I think it was already there was no healing, right? There was no cure for her. So then and also she had pain in her back. Okay. So I said, okay, why don't we let's try the one in the stomach. I said, so I want you to close your eyes. And I said, and I want you to tell me to look in the stomach where the cancer is and tell me what is it that you see. So the person just closed her eyes, and then all of a sudden, she started crying, sobbing like a baby, like a little child. And I said, what's going on? And then she said, well, they're laughing at me. They're mocking at me. When she said that, I knew. And this is what we're supposed to have an understanding. I knew who were the mockers and who were the ones that were making fun of her. She didn't tell me who they were, but I knew. And this is something that you learn as you talk to God, as God gives you the insight. So then I knew. I said, oh, okay. I want you to close your eyes now. I want you to go back. See, you go back to those people that are laughing at you, they're mocking you, the ones that are in your stomach, and tell them this. And I told her, tell them, yes, you guys are right. I wasn't a good Christian. Yes, I didn't go to church as often as I should have. I didn't read the Bible. So as a Christian supposed to read the Bible, I was not the best Christian at all. I didn't do all the Christian things that people are supposed to do. I didn't have my book to check everything that I need to do as a Christian: read the Bible, learn verses, go testify, win souls, go serve the Lord, and all the stuff. Just tell them that. Tell them that you came under the grace of God. That's all.
Yes.
And of course, she has her eyes closed. So she goes and she talks to whoever was laughing at her in her stomach. And then she opened her eyes. And it was bright. It was like calm. It was like collective. And I said, what happened? They're gone. Okay, so let's deal with the pain now. I want you to tell me how, from 1 to 10, where's the pain? And she said, well, it's beyond a 10. Okay, I want you to see if you find something so you can lower the pain down. I want you to see if you find something. I didn't know that she was going to find something. This was something new that I was doing, and I didn't even know if it was going to work or not. So then she said, yes, I see, I can lower the pain. Like when you have a thermostat in your house or something that you turn down. And she looked around and she found it. She found something. So I says, okay, I'm very nervous. This is the first time I'm doing it. Very nervous. So I said, well, okay, can you try to see if you can lower the pain, maybe try to see if you can go to a 9. And then she says, yeah, I can lower the pain to the 9. And in my mind, I'm thinking, it's not possible. It can't be. I said, okay, but I was believing her.
Yeah.
Okay. So now can we go to, let's see if we can go number 8. Okay. So the person got to number 8. And then, so you feel better now? Number 8? She said, yeah, I'm in a number 8. Okay. And I'm still nervous. I'm curious what's going on. I'm not believing it. But because she's saying it and I see in her reaction, that make me a believer.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let's lower it to the 7. The 7. Okay. And then later on it says, can we lower it to the number 6? So now from 11, now we're in number 6. So that's a big change.
Yes.
And I was able to see her face.
Yeah.
When I was able to see her face, I said, oh my God, I was convinced in the bone, but I says, I better not push it. Because I see the change.
Yeah.
I seen the calm. I seen that everything was real, was down to for the way it was to the way it came to be at number 6. I said, do you think you can handle that? You think you'd be okay with the number 6? And it was amazing. She said, I'll be good with number 6. Okay, well, let's check the back. And we did the same thing, the same procedure. Lower it, and it came down. And I don't know why I got stuck with number 6. But I know now because I was afraid.
Yeah.
I was afraid that it wasn't going to work if I keep going down. In other words, in my mind, I'm thinking, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
This was not supposed to work. Does that make sense?
Oh,
because
yeah.
many times we are our own enemies.
Yes.
We don't tell nobody, but we're having this conversation. Like I'm telling you, I'm guiding this person, but I'm having these doubts in me.
Yeah.
Okay, but even though I'm having the doubts, I'm still moving forward. So we went through the back. We went for the pain in the back, and it was amazing. We went all the way to the number 6. And when I was done, I says, okay, how do you feel now? And the person says, yeah, I feel fine. I can see her face, very calm, very collective. I said, look, if Jesus doesn't heal you from this sickness, you can talk to him. He can lower the pain. He can help you with the pain. You already did the exercise, and you can do that. Do you think you're going to be okay? And she gave me a very sweet smile, and she nodded. She said, yes, I'm going to be okay. My God, I couldn't wait to run out from there.
Now, what year was this?
It was like I was waiting for somebody to grab the pain and put it back. That's how I was having a hard time believing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
what year?
How I was, even though things were working. So I'm telling you this because everybody goes through it. It is normal for people to doubt. It's not truth. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. And oh my God, they beat us down. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. And some people don't even know how to have faith.
Yeah.
Because they don't teach you how to have faith. You grow into it. You learn.
Right.
And these are the things that they don't teach us. And now that I have learned the new concept, I can teach people to do this, and it's very easy. One thing I tell people, in fact, I always have a rule of 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, and the world can change.
Now, so what year do you think that was? What year do you think it was? Do you have an idea?
Maybe I don't remember. Remember, it
don't have to be that accurate. It's pretty close.
Like 10 years ago.
Maybe like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because even if when you go to the church, I'm going to show you the picture of the person is there in the church.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So was this before? So this was before you started doing this, like 2012 or 13, right? The new way. Was it before that?
Yeah, after that, because they were there in the church. They were part of the new change. Because what happened when the new change came is because I was. This is how it happened. I was in the altar, and I was supposed to preach, and then God says, "I want you to minister my word." When He said, "I want you to minister my word," I was offended by God. Because he's like, what have I been doing? Because, you talk to ministers, and that's how we roll. We roll and minister the word of God, or or preach the word, and talk, there are different ways of saying it. Okay. So for me, when God says, I want you to minister my word, for me, there was something new. But the good thing is that he showed me how to minister his word, because I asked him, okay, well, tell me how to minister the word. If I haven't been, I thought for 27 years, that's what I've been doing. I felt offended because for 27 years, I used the Bible 100%.
Yeah.
That's it. I used the Bible 100%. So by him telling me, minister my word, so what have I been doing 27 years? Okay. But that's when the new shift was coming, which I didn't know that it was possible. That's when the new concept came into play, which I was not aware. So I asked him, okay, well, if you show me, this is another thing. Every time he asks me to do something, I'm very open. I say, okay, you show me and I will do it. If you don't show me, then I won't do it. But he says, yeah, I'll show you, and you're going to minister my word. And he showed me. He gave me a picture in my mind what I was about to do. So I knew what I was supposed to do, and I needed a shawl. ¿Cómo se dice? Un rebozo en español, in Spanish, the rebozo is a shawl. And I said, but I don't have a shawl here. And then he pointed to one of the sisters that was in the front of the pew and says, ask her to borrow the shawl. So I said, sister, God wants me to ask you if I can borrow your shawl that you have. And there's a funny story about the shawl. She never wore a shawl, and that Sunday they almost got in trouble with her and the husband, because she forgot the shawl and they had to go back to get it. And I didn't know the story. They told me the story that they almost got in a fight because of that.
That's funny.
So then, by the way, if you want to see I have the shawl there in the church. It's about this color. Oh, wow. I'm wearing the color. This color. I have it.
It's like you in the suit, remember? Remember you in the suit? I seen you wearing that maroon suit, and Pasquale was in a blue suit, and then Chelsey goes, those are our colors for the Flat Out Truth. Before we even knew you. Yeah, it was crazy. You said you still own the suit, the maroon one.
I need to hear it.
I said you still have that maroon suit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, I do still have it.
All right, so go ahead with your shawl.
Okay. So then when he said, will you minister my word? I said, yes. And you know what he said? I want you to minister grace. And in my mind, every Christian, we have a Christian mind. Every Christian has a Christian mind. What is a Christian mind, Pastor, you might ask? A Christian mind is the one that they tell you something, and all of a sudden, you look for the verses. Your mind kind of connects with the verses.
Yeah.
And when God says, I want you to minister on grace, and right away, by grace we're saved, and I start mentioning the verses of grace in my mind. I said, God, everybody knows about grace. Everybody knows. Every Christian knows about grace. In other words, grace is kind of a staple of a Christian, because by grace we're saved. Okay, so grace is a real is the prominent word, I'm going to call it, in the Christian in the Christian atmosphere. And even when I told the lady that I visited church, visited the hospital, I said, no, tell them that you came under the grace of God. And that's what those that were making fun of her, they left her alone. Because the grace of God, I'm going to say, is kind of the authority and the protection of God. And the enemy knows, and I'm not going to talk about that, but the enemy, we get into the realm, and it's God who takes over. Yeah. So anyway, so here I'm in my mind kind of still arguing. People were not seeing me that I was arguing, but so I'm telling you, in my mind, I was arguing with God. That's where I go with God. And I says, God, everybody knows about grace. What am I gonna do telling them about grace? But the way he showed me what I was gonna do, it was different. It was different. He says, no, you're gonna minister my word. And I still didn't understand. So I says, okay. So he said, tell them to separate each other, not to be too close to each other. Make space from one person to another. Okay, so I told everybody, okay, God wants you to make space from each other. And then he told me to get the shawl and go and put it on top of each person. And I said, this is the great, and I said, I told everybody, I want you to close your eyes. And as I put the shawl on the first person, I said, this is the grace of God. And I put the shawl on the first one. Oh my God. It just started crying. And then I went to the other one and says, this is the grace of God. And I began. And I did that. And I was doing that first on the first row. And then somebody from the side of the church stood up and started yelling, I felt the same thing. I felt the same thing. And so I began to minister. And that was, and you know what minister means? And I'm going to tell you because I couldn't understand what it was. Now I understand. It's like when somebody talks, like if I have a bottle of water and I explain everything about the water inside the bottle, but I never give you to drink, that's not ministering to you. It's me talking to you about the water, how clear the water is, how fresh the water is, how good the water tastes, but I never gave you the water. I never gave you to drink the water.
Wow.
Ministering the word of God is talking about the water, giving the description of the water, but at the end, giving you to drink the water. So that you can go, oh wow, that's what you're talking about. Now I'm tasting what you taste. I'm tasting what you're describing. That's the new concept of giving people an experience so they can take home. That's the concept. Giving people an experience of the word that they can take home.
Yeah. And that's what we see. Like, when I went to the church, after all these years and I went there, you guys got to go check this man out. I mean, it's different when it's live. He'll bring out his little book with his notes in it that he did throughout the week, whatever the Spirit has given him. And he just lays into it. And it's so genuine. It is. His connection with the Most High, it's amazing. It really is. It's genuine. He loves Yahweh more than, most for sure. I tell you that. He's got a connection. And he always gives me confirmation. No matter what I was doing all week, it's like I think he's getting the notes from me. I don't know. But it ends up being really, it's very, very, it gives me assurance. It gives me the confirmation of whatever I'm working on during the week for the Flat Out Truth, or it could be anything. So, you can keep going on. I like the way you have the connection, and how you've learned that it wasn't just the words. It's sharing the influence and the experience of the words.
Yes.
So
I call it a new concept, but actually, it's a new concept because we're using it, but actually, it's already in the Bible. When the Bible talks about, and the Word became flesh, or the Word. Remember, in the book of John, it talks about the Word becoming as a person, which is the Word. Jesus is the Word now, the living Word.
Yeah.
When we talk about the living Word, we kind of think, or we were trained to believe that the Bible, the Word in the Bible, is the living Word. But actually, what it's talking, it's about Jesus, which is the living Word. But it doesn't matter how people will use it. That the Bible, that's what I use it from the beginning for so many years. So I was really into it. But then when I realized that it's actually a living person, then for me, it was like, wow. That was, for me, it was a new concept of believing and actually connecting with God. In fact, in one of the last, I went to study to get my theology, and one of the things that they taught us, I noticed that when they taught us something, they taught us right, but then we do something different. And I didn't want to argue with the teachers, because I said, well, I'm gonna listen to what they're doing, but I know what I'm looking for. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Because you know what you're looking for, and what I wanted, especially is there's the story about the beggar that is by the church, and then the two disciples come out and they look at the beggar and say, well, we don't have money, we don't have gold, but what we have, we can give you. And I said, God, I want that. I want that. That what they knew, they had something, that they were carrying something, and they were able to give something. It was not by faith. They knew. But I couldn't argue with the pastor or whoever was teaching there. I didn't want to argue the whole thing, But I said, no, that's what I want, God. I want to be able to get to go to see a person and to give them something, not just say by faith. No, I want to give them something. That's why when I went to visit the person in the hospital, I left so satisfied. So like I was able to give her something.
Yes.
And she was able to receive something. And she was able to say, yes, I'll be fine with what I have. And again, I said, if God or Jesus doesn't heal you, he's going to help you through it. Do you think that you're going to be okay? You can always talk to him. So that's what I gave her. Even though it was my beginning, I was so nervous. I don't know if it was going to work or not, but that's what I gave her. So what I seen the disciples doing with the beggar, basically that's what I did with his sister, and that's what I was looking for. So now, from the moment I was in school in theology to the moment that I did it with this, he passed a lot of years. Some years went by, I think, yeah. So, but anyway, so this is the new concept that to know the God of the Bible, or the Jesus of the Bible, which is basically the whole, I'm going to say the whole Father, Son, and Holy Spirit right there. Oh, and I'm gonna share something, because I know that this one is also very complicated. I'm a very I say simple person, and maybe honest person with God. And I remember that I had to come out with a question. Okay, God, I know there's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And I get confused. My mind is not that eloquent. My mind is not, I'm not that smart. That's what I told God, okay? I'm not that smart. And I have problems, because I want to love you 100%. But if I love you 100%, I have to divide 100% in 3 persons. because there's 3 in 1. Okay, these are the things that they don't explain us in church. Okay, they just say, yeah, there's 3, and go love them 100%. Yeah, you got. Oh, by the way, you gotta love them with all your mind, all your heart, and all your mind, heart, and God, or whatever, So, okay, they pretty much tell us all. We see they're very good in teaching us those things, but not getting them into practice. To practice things is not the same. So, and I don't blame it, because I did that for 27 years. So here I am, but now I'm beginning to cross the line and say, okay, God, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been pastor for 27 years, but I got a problem with this. I want to love you 100%, but I got to divide my love in 3 parts. And then I remember when I came to in the church where I was, there was an elder that came over to my house, and he said, "Do you know that now we are in the ministry of the Father?" And oh, okay, well, sounds good. He was an elder. You don't argue with elders. Oh, okay. But something like that. So what happened with Jesus? What happened with Holy Spirit? So it's like they throw you wrenches that they don't know that they're throwing you wrenches, because in our little mind, we gotta figure these things out. And we can't ask them because you're gonna feel like you're not spiritual enough, and they're gonna send you to go study more of the Bible, even though they may not have the answers. They just wanna, okay, well, just read the Bible or go study or go get go do something. In other words, just keep seeking, because they don't have the answer, and they're not honest enough to tell you that they don't have the answer. I myself was in that situation. I was the pastor, and I did my best, did the best with what I knew at that time, you know. So I had one of my closest friend came over one time and said, I have been in this church and I've done everything they told me, and I climbed the ranks already, and I'm very frustrated because they keep telling me, that if you just do this, you're gonna find Jesus right there, and I do whatever they tell me, and I feel like when I do everything, it's like Jesus moved to the other corner, so I have to follow him to another corner, and I go back and say, no, he moved. So then tell me to do something else to go reach him up. So I go, and when I get there, it seems like Jesus moves. He was devastated. He was crying because it's like they were hanging a carrot in front of him. Yeah, you got to do this. You got to do this. And I know he was sincere. When he came to me, I said, don't worry about it. It's just, they mean the right thing. They were not, they just don't know. And we just try to guide you the best we can. And all pastors, I think, they try the best they can to guide the people, according to how much we have learned, how much we know, and how much we have experienced.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
yeah. So anyway, I did that. I ministered that. The Word of God. I put the show on the people, and that was one of my first experiences. But I wanna share that I had the privilege of going to Texas, and my mom. Maybe people didn't know about this, and my family didn't know about it. But me and my mom, we had a relationship of me being a little bit more mature as a Christian, and I wasn't her pastor, but I was the son, but I knew a little bit more, and a little bit more. So I remember that when I went over there, I asked, Mom, do you want to experience the grace of God? And she says, yes. But I said, no, don't say yes right away, just because I'm your son, and you don't wanna say no because you don't want to offend me or anything like that. And she looked at me, no, yes, I want to experience the grace of God. Okay, I said, well, close your eyes. And it was me and her in the room, and I didn't know. I look around and I seen a towel. I think I seen a towel or something, and I just, okay, God, okay, this is the grace of God. And I put it upon her. Oh my God. She got the same experience that the people had over here in the church, and I couldn't believe it. And I felt bad because she was actually crying a lot. She was crying a lot, and I was trying to calm her down, and then I calmed her down a little bit, but then later on, somehow I got into it, and we both just broke up, and we had a real good time. On me and my mom there. So my connection with my mom in that sense was okay. That's okay. So I feel privileged that I was able to minister that to her. Not to my dad, but to her, I did. So moving forward, I was writing also cards. It was funny. I remember when I started writing cards. let me tell you the story about this one. It was kind of a funny story. They invited me one time. They invited me to a convention,
right.
and
Daniel, I'm gonna pause you right there, and we're gonna save your story for everybody on the platform. All right, and then we'll start out from there. So, everybody that has been listening so far, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, TikTok, thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. We are going to head back over to theflatouttruth.com to go ahead and finish our live stream Unchained. So don't forget, you can find Pastor Daniel at Facebook. So facebook.com/Light of Calvary, Okemos, Michigan. And it is in the chat for you guys if you want to check them out. Or you can just, if you happen to be in the Michigan area,
just go to church. Yeah,
all right.
He starts at 10:30 a.m. on Sundays.
That's right.
So
and bring a notebook if possible, because I want you to take whatever God tells you. I want you to write it down so you can have it. And I even tell people, you can have church in your house without going to church the week when you learn to talk to God.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this is a secret. All the really great pastors and teachers, they always tell you to bring a notebook. They want you to write it down. They want you not to forget it. They want you to, put it in your phone, text it out, whatever you got to do. So that's what they do. So again, if you guys want to see him continue this talk, go to theflatouttruth.com and join to free. It doesn't matter. You get the live. Otherwise, you can replay this, you guys. You guys know where to find us on YouTube and Rumble. You can get it on there. Or like I said, you can get us on the full on the platform. You get the free version, or you can get the premium, which gives you the full version of the video. But Daniel, don't go anywhere. Just stay where you're at. You don't have to do anything special. You can go drink water, bathroom, whatever, until we come back. But you just stay on the platform. You're fine. Everybody else, I am Paulino B Michael.
I'm Chelsey B Michael.
And as always, be safe.
Be blessed.
And that's the flat out truth.
No,